Hello everyone, it's Rich. I am back. It's been quite a while since I posted a video. I believe COVID 2020 was the last time I posted a video. I was trying the earbud thing. I lost touch with that. Just didn't really have the focus to stay on it. So I stopped doing all that, but I am back. I am going to try to post more often. So I'm just gonna get into the video. It's 2025 now, and I am starting a new journey. So this year, I will be participating in the San Antonio Marathon, December 7th, 2025. I've never been a runner, not at all. So up until I believe June, I had basically run one 10K my entire life. I had run a few 5Ks, nothing crazy, and then just, working or running as is, as needed. So a little bit of backstory about myself. I've always been somewhat of an athlete. I played high school football and played basketball growing up, so football and basketball. And then I joined the military, and during my time in the military, I've always been on intramural teams. I've always played pickup sports and all that stuff. So I've loved sports my entire life. And then roughly around 2013, I was in Afghanistan at the time, and my older brother asked me if I wanted to do a mud run that was called the Superhero Scramble. So that was my first mud run, I think roughly November 2013. And I absolutely fell in love with it. So basically, it's a trail run with obstacles and incorporated in. And at the time, the industry was crazy. So there was quite a few. So I did the Superhero Scramble first, and then I did a couple Rugged Maniacs, and then I found Spartan. So I did a couple Spartan races, and then I moved overseas to Korea. I did one Spartan race in Korea, and then I moved to Guam, and there was just nothing there. I did a couple local trail runs, like a couple obstacle course races there. And then in 2021, we moved to California, and I was reintroduced to Spartan races. So at that point, I basically started doing several per year. I think I'm up to around 25, 26 done now in my lifetime, just Spartan races. And then I've probably done another dozen random races like Rugged Maniac, Terrain Race, all those one-off, like more like smaller races. So in in May of this year, 2025, I signed up for 2 races in Austin. It was the 10K in the morning and the 5K in the afternoon. So I went out there, and like I said, I had been living in California since 2021. So these were absolutely the hottest races that I've done. It was well over 100 degrees, humidity, super hot. And my time was not very good. It'd been like 6 months since my last Spartan race, and I had gone through quite a bit of like life change. Maybe you'll find out about that later on, but yeah, I just was not in good shape at all. And I ran those races, and it was very, very difficult. And so afterwards I got back, and then I started looking at the Texas schedule, and I noticed that there are 4 races in Texas, 4 weekends. There's March is Houston, October is Dallas, November is San Antonio, and then May was Austin. So at that point, it was already May. I had missed out on the Houston weekend, so then I looked, and I basically have Dallas and San Antonio remaining, so that was October, November. And up until then, I had run 5 trifectas, which is basically the half marathon, 10K, and a 5K in a single weekend, or just in a year, but there's a trifecta and a trifecta weekend. So I had done 5 of those. So the half marathon beast was the longest I've ever done. At that point, the one that I did was somewhere around like 16 miles. That was the first time I had ever cramped badly on a course. I could barely walk, so I couldn't do a lot of obstacles, and I did a lot of penalty loops that time. So all that to say, one of my goals has always been the Spartan Ultra race. It's a 50K race, usually 2 loops, so it's double the obstacles. I think 60 obstacles, roughly about 32 miles of terrain, and then give or take based on Spartan miles. And then that's a term they use. So Spartan mile, they'll say it's a 10K and you'll end up running like 7. It's just like they exaggerate the miles. It's always give or take a little bit. So 32 to 34 miles, 60 obstacles, terrain race. Like I said, I'd never done anything more than 16, but I've always wanted to do an ultra, and you know, I'm getting older, so what better time than now? So at that time I had 5 months to prepare for it, so I signed up for the Dallas Ultrafecta actually. So I'll be doing the 50K on Saturday, and then Sunday morning I'll be doing the 10K, and then Sunday afternoon I'll be doing the 5K with Lucas and Miles. They'll join me for the 5K. And then I looked at the San Antonio race because they announced that San Antonio would be a trifecta weekend as well. So then I signed up for the Beast, which is the half marathon. So I signed up for that on Saturday, and then Sunday I'll be doing the 10K and then the 5K with the boys as well on Sunday. And then I think Nell's gonna also join us for that last 5K. And I might be mistaken, but I think I'm doing 2 5Ks that weekend. I might be doing half marathon, 5K on Saturday, 10K, 5K on Sunday. I don't know, I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, so that's October, November, and that was my schedule. I was gonna train for the Spartan races and I was good to go. I started looking into all kinds of training stuff, and then I was in a class and between March and April, and I met this guy from San Antonio, which is where I currently live. I live in San Antonio. He sent me a message in like June, and it was like the San Antonio Marathon, the first ever. At the time, I didn't know there had been a marathon here previously, but they kind of like, it was like the rock and roll marathon. They canceled it, so this is the first currently like locally run marathon. He's like, dude, you should sign up for this. And I'm like, I don't know. And I thought about it, and within a day, I was signed up for this marathon. Like I said, I've never run anything more than a 10K, and I ran one once at that point in my entire life. So, and then I just signed up for this marathon. Didn't even think about training plans or anything like that. I just signed up for this marathon. And then I started doing a lot of research about like shoes and all kinds of stuff. So, I started running at the end of May. I signed up for a local 5K. I did a 5K, and then like the summer previously we had been running with the boys, and my 5K was a 26:38, I believe, was my fastest, and my 5K in May was like 29 something. It was horrible. So I was like, oh God. So I signed up for the 5K. I ran the 5K, and then I started running a few days a week. So I think I started initially somewhere around like 3 days a week, aiming towards a 5K every day. And I did about 10 miles a week for a few weeks. I've been keeping track, but I don't have it on top of my head. But so my initial thought process was, I have my marathon in December. Typical prep is like 18 weeks. So 18 weeks from December was the first week of August. And then I had 2 months prior to that is whenever I started running. So I thought in my head, you know, I'll build up my mileage, because I wanted to start my program at 20 miles a week. And I wasn't there, obviously. So I figured the next 2 months, I'll, you know, take it slow, sign up for some races, build up my mileage. So that's what I did. I probably ran like 5Ks over the summer. I ran an official 10K at 1 hour and 0 minutes, 32 seconds. So that's pretty much my fastest timed 10K. And then I will be running a half marathon this weekend and in 2 weeks. So that was my process. Over the summer, the 2 weeks, I ran several 5Ks, a 10K, and then I just built my mileage up to where now I can be running 20 miles a week to start the training plan. I haven't entirely stayed dedicated on my training plan just because the boys started football. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, I can't really do any running because I'm out the door at 6 a.m. and I don't get back until 9 p.m. So can't really run on those days. So I run Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the evenings. And then Saturday and Sunday, I'll usually do a long run. I try to do it all at once, but if I can't, I'll split it up. Like this past weekend, I did 11 miles, but I had to split it. I initially planned on going downtown to run the first 8.5 and the last 1.5 of the actual marathon course. Or sorry, the first 8.5 and the last 2.5 of the marathon course. But I woke up Saturday and I had a sty this past weekend that ruptured basically overnight, and all the pus inside my eye led to me waking up with severe red swollen eye. So instead of running Saturday, I went to the ER, found out I had pink eye, and they gave me some ointment. And so I put the ointment in, and within an hour, it kind of like calmed it down a little bit to where I was able to run 5 miles on Saturday, and then Sunday morning, we didn't go to church because of my situation. So then I ran a 10K on Sunday. So I got my miles in, but I had to split it up. So that's where I'm at right now. I am training I have my Dallas Ultra in 40 days, a little under 6 weeks. San Antonio trifecta is about 4 weeks after that. And then the marathon is just under 13 weeks now. It's gonna be on a Sunday, so today's Monday. Yesterday was 13 weeks. So that's what I'm training on now. Just a little touch of everything. So like I said, I run 4 days a week minimum. I'm doing one strength session per week, just because I've never really been strong in the lower body. I never really worked it out. I've always just relied on like natural ability. But whenever I work out my legs, I feel it for a while. So if I do like a hard leg workout on a Sunday, I will feel it until the next weekend. So I'm trying to get through that now. So I'll usually do 1 or 2 smaller workouts, which consist of like lunges, squats, stuff like that. More body weight than actual weights. And then my weekly mileage is probably around 20 right now is where I'm averaging out. I'm gonna push that up to 25 this month, and then next month it'll be into 30. And I think my peak is probably gonna end up around 35 to 40 miles a week, which is good for me. My target for this marathon is number 1, to finish. And number 2, I wanna try to get under 5 hours. I know it's not like a crazy time, but a 5-hour marathon is like, I think just under 11.5 minutes per mile for 26 miles. That's a pretty big feat for me. So we will see. But that's it. That's me. I'll be posting throughout this journey, just to try to motivate somebody, give you guys an update. Also, accountability on my part. You know, if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, go ahead and comment below. If you want to follow the journey, go ahead and subscribe, like the video. I'll also be doing several other videos, like my shoe rotation, what kind of gels I take, my fueling prior or before and after my runs, what I wear during my runs, my gear during my runs, just stuff like that. Even I'll probably try to get in like a couple like of my strength workouts, just so you guys can see what those look like as well. And then I'll be trying to get some footage during the Spartan races, during the marathon, and all that stuff. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for catching up with me, and I will see you guys on the next one.